Welcome back to Inside Adelaide. Well, 5 million people across 58 developing countries benefit from the fair trade system. In Australia, more and more shoppers and businesses are placing importance on the ethical sourcing of everyday products. But what does fair trade actually mean? Anna Gordon has the story.
Australia continues to be one of the world's fastest growing markets for fair trade certified products. Early February, Fairtrade Australia and New Zealand announced sales tripling in just 12 months to over $120 million in 2010.
And awareness of fair trade in Australia has grown to 37%, and I think as a result of that we're seeing more people become aware of fair trade, and therefore they're looking to purchase more fair trade products as a way of being able to help people less fortunate than themselves.
So fair trade is basically a trading system that allows marginalised farmers and communities in sort of third world countries to get a fairer price for their coffee, tea, chocolate, basically any kind of commodity. Fair trade works really hard to eliminate child labour in third world countries to enable those children to get an education. It also means that everyone on the farm has to have access to clean water and to good sanitation, so everyone works in really first world conditions.
The Fair Trade Collective is a group of students dedicated to becoming a fair trade university and creating awareness on the issue.
And we had lots of stalls coming, showing off their fair trade produce. We had lots of social justice stalls, and it was just a really friendly atmosphere. And we promoted fair trade, and lots of people signed our petition to become a fair trade university.
The fair trade system benefits a number of developing countries.
If you wanted to look on a worldwide scale, Africa, absolutely. A lot of regions in Africa are benefiting from fair trade. India has a massive amount of fair trade cooperatives. South America also has a lot. So basically just think of a country that you feel is poor or in a third world state, and you can guarantee that fair trade are trying to work there.
Nadine Silverberg recently visited India to observe local producers.
I've actually seen how this was made by hand, and every single one of these is cast in the earth individually in a mould by the artisan making it.
But how does fair trade benefit developing countries?
So there's something called a fair trade premium, and that premium goes on top of the general price. It's generally higher than the market price as well. And that fair trade premium goes back into the community to allow them to build schools, hospitals, whatever that community feels they need as part of a cooperative.
A product is fair trade certified if it carries the fair trade label indicating products have met international standards. Across Adelaide, many small businesses have made the move to fair trade.
As a cafe owner, obviously selling coffee to numerous people, I think it's important for us to make the stance towards ethical coffee, because I think it makes a much more significant difference.
Tara Evans, owner of the organic store, believes ethical sourcing of coffee is important to her customers.
People are very aware of, organic farming methods and why it's beneficial for your health. Fair trade's obviously one step further than that. It's promoting sustainable farming.
Specialty coffee store Bar 9 uses the unique directly traded approach to coffee.
The premise behind direct trade is simply going directly to the farmers and for the coffees.
2008 state barista champion Ian Callaghan says directly traded coffee offers greater quality and taste.
Working with the farmers, you're able to get more sweetness into the cup, and we get a lot of compliments that, just sort of wow moments, I don't need to add sugar.
There are also a number of arguments for and against fair and direct trade.
Direct trade is just a different way of getting the produce to you. So buying direct from a farmer doesn't necessarily mean that there's no child labour, and it certainly doesn't mean that they're getting a fair price. It just means you're buying it direct. And that definitely can have benefits.
The problems with fair trade coffee is it's a guaranteed set price, irrespective of quality. So what that tends to do is, if you might have, say, 10 farms in a region, 2 of them not doing pretty poor things with the coffee, 2 of them bending over backwards getting a really good quality product, but because they're all getting paid the same fair trade price, there's no incentive to make that product higher quality.
For consumers, fair trade offers a way to reduce poverty and assist farmers and workers in developing countries.
I have to say that I haven't bought many fair trade products, but I don't mind spending the extra money on organics, so I'd be more than open to spending on fair trade.
Anna Gordon, Inside Adelaide.
The South Australian Film Corporation are preparing to move into their new headquarters at Glenside. As the project nears completion, they're excited about what the new studios will mean for the South Australian film industry.
It's out with the old and in with the new. The South Australian Film Corporation's brand new $43 million headquarters are almost complete, and CEO Richard Harris says he's happy about the smooth sailing so far.
Middle of the year, all going well. At this stage they're on track, but we're pretty keen to get production in there as soon as we can.
Although it doesn't look like much now, the Adelaide studios will house state-of-the-art facilities for film and TV production.
Well, I guess there's sort of three parts of the studio. There's a professional facilities parts, and they have a couple of sound stages, mixing room, screening room, production offices. Basically, we can do pretty much two big productions in at one time, which is great.
The SAFC has existed in South Australia for the past 40 years, and although many notable professionals have passed through the halls of their Hendon studios, they say they're ready for the upgrade.
Well, what we have here now is pretty much substandard from industry perspective. I mean, you can use the sound stages here, but only very, very limited use. People can come in for a couple of days and do some things in here, but not very much, and you can't really build sets, and you can't light from the roof, and the roofs, we're concerned about it collapsing.
The brand new complex is part of the state government's Glenside campus redevelopment, which includes room for 30 businesses to take up tenancy on the site. And this is turning the heads of industry professionals.
There's a lot of producers I know who are Melbourne and Sydney producers, mainly television guys, who are looking really heavily at Adelaide, because of the new studios. And when they're up and running, there's going to be some firm interest to come back and make another McLeod's Daughters or something like that. I'm producing a new movie in Melbourne, which is unfortunate, because I wanted to bring it here, but the studios aren't ready yet, and it's a studio-based film, it needs sets, and we're having to do it in Melbourne. It's unfortunate because if I did it here, I'd save a fortune.
So we've had no shortage of filmmaking here over the years, and people know that South Australia is good, that the crews are good. The one thing that's always been missing is having a facility like this.
And the Adelaide studios may be just the facility the industry is looking for.
We know that there's studios of this scale in Sydney, but they're basically booked up at the moment. Melbourne, they do have more space available, but the problem they have is that those studios are more expensive. So our studios have been deliberately designed and built to be not the huge studios that cost a lot of money, but to be the right sort of scale for domestic and independent production.
The SAFC and the state government have been very smart in establishing that they will support independent Australian film, not just South Australian film, because any independent film from interstate that comes here, or even a small overseas production that comes, smaller overseas production, gets money straight into the economy.
And that sense of it actually being a sort of centre place for the whole of the industry to congregate, I think will be, an unbelievable place to be.
Lauren Waltuter, Inside Adelaide.
Don't go away, because after the break we'll be introducing you to some of Adelaide's finest buskers.